Oh, Bill.
And then I got 2 Robins and no my screen.
You're on.
But I've got now. I don't have this. There you go. All right. Folks, sorry we running late. We had a little difficulty here. Lessons of Vietnam show, the online show telling the real story of the Vietnam War and the men and women who were involved, trying to dispel some of the myths, lies, and half-truths and misunderstandings. We're brought to you the second Monday of each month at 3 o'clock, normally by Nissan Communications. To see some of the archive shows, the past shows, just go to www.nissan.com, nissancommunications.com. It's been one of those challenging days. And select from the LOV, Lessons of Vietnam show. I am your host, Bill Dixon, Vietnam 6768. I was with Headquarters Company, 159 Engineer Group, out of 20th Engineer Brigade at Long Binh, about 20 miles south from Saigon. Okay, now it was always important out there. If you're a veteran, you know a veteran that's feeling a crisis, have them to call this number 1-800-273-8255 and be sure to press 1. That will get you as someone who talks to veterans. But they're out there. If you're having stress or whatever, pick up the line and give them a call and just talk. That's all they want to do is talk to you. Today is our special guest, the the Orange Heart Foundation. Ken Gamble, he's the founder and president of the Orange Heart Medal Foundation. Bobby Tyner, who is working on getting in with us. We've had a little problem with Bobby's computer. He's a board member and South Carolina representative. And then we have Robin Spence from North Carolina representative and surviving wife of Joseph Spence, an Agent Orange victim.
August 7th was National Purple Heart Day. Many of us know of a veteran who has received a Purple Heart as a result of being in combat. It is our nation's expression of gratitude to the brave soldiers who have suffered an injury that is visible or made the ultimate sacrifice in service to our country. Beyond the personal and emotional sacrifices during the Vietnam War, certain long-lasting effects of the injuries suffered and not recognized continue to show their effects to this day. Among these are the effects of exposure to Agent Orange defoliant and PTSD. Today, we will discuss Agent Orange. 10 August is National Agent Orange Day. In addition to the damaging environmental effects, even today, this chemical has caused major physical injury to 2.6 million Americans who were exposed. Only 800,000 are still alive. Agent Orange is a dioxin. It is a cancer-causing chemical that enters the body through physical contact or ingestion. Dioxin moves into the human cell nucleus, where it attacks the genes and causes a number of serious illnesses. Those include leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, ischemic heart disease, soft tissue sarcoma, amyloidosis, diabetes, and cancers of the throat, prostate, lung, colon, and certain other conditions. The genetic damage from Agent Orange in some cases has affected the next generations and their next generation, so far 5 generations deep, children of those who are Vietnam veterans exposed in Vietnam. Unfortunately, the victims of Agent Orange have not received the honors that they deserve. With 300 deaths occurring every day among them, they continue their march to join the fallen comrades whose names are on the wall, the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. Yet their names will not be engraved on that wall. These men and women will not be remembered as fatalities of the Vietnam War, even though they truly are. The foundation was created by Vietnam veteran Ken Gamble, whose health was affected by Agent Orange. Knowing his brothers in arms were experiencing the same health issues and dying from their exposure, Campbell wanted to ensure that they were not forgotten and created the nonprofit organization. Orange Heart is working to award all Vietnam veterans with exposure to Agent Orange with an Orange Medal. A memorial is also located at Springfield Memorial Gardens in Springfield, Tennessee. This is the timeline of the bill that was introduced in the state of Tennessee by our founder, Ken Gamble, and I'm going to turn this over to him for further discussion.
Well, we put this bill on the floor. Sabi Kumar, our state representative, I got with him. We wrote this bill up. Sabi took it to the legislature on February the 4th, 2019. We introduced it on February the 5th. Okay. It was adopted on February the 6th on the legislative floor. 96 nays, 0 opposition. It engrossed ready for the transmission to the Senate on the 6th, and the House received it on the 7th. Placed on the Senate floor on the 11th. Concurred ayes were 30, nays were 0. It was ready for the signature of the House Speaker on the 15th. House Speaker signed it on the 15th. Signed by the Senate Speaker on the 19th. Transmitted to the Governor on the 20th. And on the 22nd, it became law in the state of Tennessee. Now that law reads, whereas our nation was conceived by individuals who were willing to sacrifice their personal safety and concerns to ensure our individual and collective freedoms, and the volunteer state is especially proud to be the home of so many valiant men and women who have performed above and beyond the call of duty. And whereas the citizens of the United States have throughout the years been called upon to take up arms against the enemies of this great nation, risking their lives and leaving their loved ones behind to honorably safeguard the freedoms and liberties guaranteed to all Americans and vanquishing those who threaten our way of life. And whereas more than 8 million citizens of this country honorably served during Vietnam War, during which time Agent Orange was widely used in Vietnam by the United States Armed Forces as part of the herbicidal warfare program Operation Ranch Hand from 1961 until 1971, whereas nearly 20 million gallons of orange powder were sprayed over the land from helicopters, low-flying aircraft, destroying vegetation and crops in order to deprive enemy guerrillas of food and cover for their activities, and exposing 2.6 million American soldiers to the herbicide and the defoliant chemical. And whereas Agent Orange is a dioxin and cancer-causing chemical that enters the body through physical or ingestion and moves to the human cell nucleus, where it attacks the genes and causes a number of serious illnesses, including, and I think Robin just went over that. And whereas Agent Orange also caused genetic damage, and in some cases, the children and grandchildren of veterans exposed to Agent Orange have been born with spina bifida and other anomalies. And whereas today, actually, that figure has changed from 800,000 to 600,000 Vietnam vets exposed to Agent Orange are alive. And approximately 547 deaths occur among them every day. Whereas while fallen comrades are memorialized on the wall at the Vietnam Memorial in D.C., those veterans who were victims of Agent Orange were not recognized as fatalities of the Vietnam War. And whereas it is the most appropriate that we should honor these veterans to the full extent of our ability, as they have made untold and innumerable sacrifices to preserve the liberties and enjoy today our you will hope continue to cherish for generations to come now therefore. But it be it resolved, the House of Representatives of the 111th General Assembly of the United States of Tennessee, the Senate concurring, that honor and recognize these victims of Agent Orange during the Vietnam War for their courageous service to our nation as some of America's most heroic citizens. Be it further resolved that appropriate copy of this resolution be prepared and sent to the final clause submitted from this copy. We went to the a month later. We went to the Capitol, and I was presented a proclamation of this law, and also nowhere in here does it say the Orange Heart Medal, but the state of Tennessee gave me a $25,000 grant that I could only use to purchase medals. So you take it at face value. Do they recognize the medal? Hell yes, they do. So do we. All of us Vietnam veterans. We recognize it for what it stands for. And that's it.
Next slide. Next one is the memorial that is built in at Springfield, Tennessee. All right.
Yes.
All right. Who's going to talk about the memorial? Ken?
Well, we built the medal. When I first started this foundation, I wanted the guys recognized. And I started it in January of 2018, but I did not get the medals made until somewhere around August, I guess it was, because I was doing paperwork, getting a 501c3 lined up, getting the medal trademark, just doing a lot of paperwork. And it takes a lot of paperwork and what have you to get a 501c3 off the ground. Well, the first year, I think I gave that first year from August till December, I gave out 300 medals. Right now, we are at 6,453 that I've sent out. And when I say I've sent out, with the help of people like Robin and Bobby Tyner that present these medals face to face with the veterans. And if I could, I would do it with that 600,000 and so forth. But it's just impossible because they are from all over the United States, Puerto Rico, Australia, Canada. I send them out to wherever there's a vet, wherever they took up residence at. The Philippines. It's just unreal. Now, this medal is not authorized. It's not it's just a commemorative medal at this point in time. I have written to every senator, all 100 of them. I've gotten 2 replies. Both replies were the same. I guess they were both in on the call that I had with Washington, D.C., because they both come back with the same comment. Good luck with that. That's what we got. So I'm going state to state. South Carolina is putting the bill on their floor. North Carolina is putting the bill on their floor. Kentucky is putting the bill on their floor. Ohio is putting the bill on their floor. If I can get the East Coast, then I'll start going west with it. It's not something that one man can do. We've all got to work together to get this done. All Vietnam veterans have got to work together to get this done. Now, I'm telling you, this has been the most fulfilling thing I've ever done in my life. The emails I get back from these widows that have received the medal, even the veterans that have received the medal, they're so appreciative that someone has taken the time to recognize. And that's all they want. It's just recognition. That, and they don't want to be forgotten. And this medal can be handed down for generations. The same way with the memorial. After I got into this, I got with the funeral home in Springfield, and I told them what I intended to do. And they said, well, Ken, let's work together. I said, that sounds like a winner to me. So they gave me the property to put this memorial in the cemetery. It's right at the entrance. And we had it built. We designed it, had it built, had it shipped in, and the cemetery people, they installed it for us. And on Veterans Day in 2019,
2020.
2020,
Yes,
we dedicated it. And I'll let Robin tell you, because she wrote a little email to me and kind of told me what it meant to her. Now, I do meet people all the time up there at the memorial that are coming through the state, and they'll stop in to see their husband's name or their name. It's just, you just can't believe. At the dedication, we had a gentleman that came from California. His name was Kenneth Webb. Kenneth had talked to Bobby Tyner several times, and Bobby told him to call me, so he did. And I was talking to Kenneth, and he says, I'm coming. He says, I've got my name on there, and I'm coming to that dedication. And I said, well, just come right ahead, fella. I said, brother, just let me know when you get here. I said, how you coming? He says, I said, it's about a 4 or 5 hour flight from California. He said, all the doctors won't let me fly. And I said, well, you're talking about a couple of 3 days of driving, hard driving. He said, no, the doctors won't let me drive. I said, well, how are you going to get here? He said, I got my train ticket. Well, I found out that an Iraqi vet checked him out of hospice. I had no idea that he was in hospice. He checked him out of hospice out the back door is what he done. But they had bought airplane tickets, and they flew in. Well, as soon as they got to Springfield, Ken had to go to the emergency room. They admitted him. Of course, he came a couple of days early, and it's a good thing he did. Well, when they released him, he couldn't get a hold of his buddy that flew in with him. So the general manager of the Hampton Inn there in Springfield, and a good friend of mine, Jerry Wright, they went and checked the hospital. He come back, they went up to his room, they wheeled him up to his room, and there laid his buddy. He had, since Ken was out of socket for a day or two, he decided to investigate Nashville, Lower Broad, all Wild Horse Saloon and all of those places. Well, Ken said, I have got to see my name. This is my last mission. They wrapped him up in blankets, wheeled him up to the memorial. Ken took his hand and went across his name. And I'm telling you, tears were falling. The next morning, he got up, he got on the plane. But before he left, the doctor called him. Where are you at? You're supposed to be in hospice. He said, I'm in Springfield, Tennessee. He said, man, you get your butt back here right now. Well, he did. He got on the plane. He went back to California. 2 days later, Ken went to see his maker. He passed away. It definitely was his last mission, but he completed it. He fulfilled his dream, and it's just heart wrenching to me. Something that we created meant so much to him, and it means so much to everyone that their name is on that memorial. And we're going to add phases to it. We're going to keep on going with it until people quit putting their names on. And it won't be in my lifetime, but it's going to continue on after I'm gone. That's for sure. I've already got it lined up. But I don't know whether you guys can see this or not. But this is the memorial right here. And there's 8 cenotaphs on this memorial at the present time. Well, there will be. I'm working on the last one.
Can you see the slide with the memorial?
Sir?
Can you see the slide with the memorial? There's a slide up with the memorial.
I can't understand you, Bill.
There's a slide up with the memorial on it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well, there's like I said, 8 cenotaphs with 60 names each on it. I've already got the second phase ordered because I'm filling the eight cenotaphs up now. I like about 16 more names having it. I have to send these things down to the stone company and have them build it. And they send it back and we attach it. But we've also, the National Garden Club, our local chapter of the Gold Star family went to the National Garden Club, who does the plaques for the Gold Star family, and they had heard about our memorial, and they was investigating as far as putting one of these up. Well, they said, well, we can't do it because it's a business. The funeral home, the cemetery is a business. They only do it on government property, or, put these in national parks and things of that nature. They said, if we can find, out of the 40, 50 years that they've been doing this, if we can find one that's been put in a private place, then we're gonna take option to it, and we're gonna let you put one up. Well, there was a veteran in Clarksville, Tennessee, that said, I'm paying for it. So he did. That was about $1,600 for this Gold Star family mark. They sent it to us and we installed it. On September the 18th, this coming September the 18th at 11 o'clock, we're going to dedicate that at the memorial. It's beautiful. We put it right in under the flag, and it is beautiful. But, the memorial is something to me that If we can't put our names when we die, even though we were wounded in Vietnam, our wounds come from serving in Vietnam, and they will not let us put our names on the permanent wall, then we've got a wall that we can put our names on. And we're only about 20 minutes out of Nashville, Tennessee. And I know that a lot of people come to Nashville. And if they do, they can just swing up there in 20 minutes, they can be at the memorial. No problem. It is a beautiful memorial.
And the memorial is important in as well as the medal, because the general public does not realize that the Vietnam War keeps on giving. That there's a lot of people out there walking the streets are Vietnam veterans. You can't see a wound, but they're wounded. And, you know, when you think about it, we went to Vietnam, that was one thing. But when our children and our grandchildren are dying from us serving our country in Vietnam, the general public doesn't know about all that that's going on. So the medal and the memorial is a way to let the general public know that the Vietnam veteran is paying a price, and our families are paying a price because of our serving the country. We came home and we're not exactly welcome home, but now our children, our grandchildren, and I believe it's 5 generations are having same cancers and so forth that the Vietnam veterans have. So it's affecting our children. I know it's still affecting children in Vietnam. I've been back 3 times, and it's over there where they're still drinking the water and so forth. So the memorial and the medal is important that we get the word out, because right now the United States government only recognizes spina bifida as a birth defect. And that is if the mother served in Vietnam, I remember correctly. This is a way to help get the word out that the other things are being, children are being affected by the other things, basically the same stuff that we've been affected by. And I don't think the people will realize just what's out there. The federal government basically says, well, you know, there's a problem, we can't afford it, so we're not going to recognize it.
Well, let me say this, Bill.
Yeah, hopefully getting the medal out there will get the word out there of what's going on. It's kind of like post-traumatic stress. It's not something you can see, but it's a real thing. Agent Orange is a real thing. The fluke, the liver fluke that's out there that's getting Vietnam vets. But the fact is, not only killing Vietnam vets is our children. That's one of the things that really gets me is what it's doing, because it changes our DNA and what it's doing to our children. And the more people you can get medals to and get people talking about it, maybe we can get the government to do something about our children.
Well, we've been working for 3 years on a documentary. Lost Pirate Pictures down in Florida, the producer. It should be out this fall. The title of it is Secondhand Agent Orange. And when that movie hits, it's going to open some eyes. I guarantee you that. It's going to open some eyes. I've traveled with Hank. He's the producer. I traveled with him, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, all over. He's been all over the United States. He has interviewed veterans and second generation, third generation. This movie will open some eyes. And believe me, it's been a long time since I met Hank at one of these Waffle Houses or something here in Nashville. He had called me and we had gotten to meet, and I gave him one of these Agent Orange hats. And Hank was in the Army, but he wasn't in the Vietnam. He's a younger guy, but he does some fantastic work. He does a lot of these videos for these country stars here in Nashville and what have you, but this documentary is gonna knock the socks off on a lot of people.
You know, one of the frustrating things about it, they tested it and knew that it was harmful to people when they started spraying, before they even started spraying it.
Yeah, but what did they tell you, Bill?
It wouldn't hurt you.
Exactly.
Admiral Zumwalt, who was head of the Navy, he sprayed it, and as a result, his son died from Agent Orange. But even they told the admiral, "Oh, it won't hurt you."
Yeah.
So he sprayed it, and the day he died, he said, you know, he was glad he did what he did because it saved a lot of lives at the time. But so many of those people now are paying a price, and their children are paying a price.
Look at it. You look at the Civil War. They say we lost 600 and some odd thousand men. Hey, that's going to be men. Just it's not even compared to Vietnam. We're going to lose.
They need 2 or 3 more walls like in D.C. to put Agent Orange names
exactly. On. They're going to have 2.6 million guys that are going to die of this, and in 6 years, you won't see nobody that was exposed to Agent Orange as far as veterans, but you will see kids, you will see grandkids, you will see great grandkids. Dr. Oldstein and Dr. Tran at the University of Vanderbilt, they're 2 scientists. They have been researching dioxin. I've been to their lab. I've met with them. And as of February last year, they were in the 5th generation. They was in the 4th generation for men, 5th generation for women. And I had talked to Paula Austin, who is their liaison, you might say, just here in the last month. And she said that they had to halt their research because of this COVID, but that they were getting things ready and getting ready to gear up again to see just how many generations this would go. So, I mean,
we're spending millions of dollars in Vietnam to clean it up over there, but we're not spending anything here for the veterans.
No, nothing. No. I mean, you know, we get a, you know, we file a claim, we get a little pension, you know, very little, but we get something. But that's not what it's about. What it's about is what they did to it.
Yeah. And
I want to know why they did it. Now, they use the excuse of saying that they were going to save lives. But to the contrary, they have killed more veterans than they could have ever saved. It just don't pan out. And why they won't address it, I have no idea. I'm not in it for the money. I'm not in it for nothing other than the recognition, the honor, and the guys for their sacrifice that they gave.
Well, yeah, Robin's got firsthand knowledge of the results of Agent Orange. Let's let her tell her story.
Absolutely.
I do. Agent Orange affected my life and my husband's life in several different ways. He had ischemic heart disease, he had diabetes, he had peripheral neuropathy, and ultimately liver cancer due to exposure to Agent Orange. And the thing is, he went from being a generally healthy individual on the outside to, in June of 2017, we found out that he had liver cancer. And, you know, the ischemic heart disease and the diabetes and those things, they were treated with medications. They were tolerable or manageable. He just had a couple of unexplainable abnormal lab tests, which led to further testing, CT scan and what have you, and went in thinking, maybe he had a kidney stone, maybe he had something like that, just he couldn't shake. And the results of that were, we're going to send you to an oncologist. You need to get your affairs in order. And that was in June 2017. And from there to January 3rd, things went downhill. He went from being an active, healthy, in my eyes, on the surface. I mean, I knew he had other health issues, but there was nothing he couldn't do. He was retired, but he did anything he wanted to do outside in the yard. And on January 3rd, he took his final breath. And I, like so many other women and men who have lost their spouse, your world is absolutely crushed. You can't find yourself. And when you go to the VA or you go to Veterans Affairs and your VSO and you say, okay, this has happened, I need some help, you find out how much there isn't. And so then you have to reach out to different support groups to help you navigate what is to come. And it was during that process that I was introduced to the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, TAPS. And I attended a couple of seminars with them. I went to the national convention. And it was during one of those days at the national convention that someone mentioned to me, I've heard about something happening in Tennessee. Well, they couldn't give me any more information than that. So I had to do my own research. So I started, and I searched, and I searched, and I searched. And it took several months, but I came across an article about a Vietnam veteran who was seeking to help other Vietnam veterans in Tennessee. His name was Ken Gamble. So I jumped on that bus, so to speak, and reached out to Ken, and we talked for a little while. He put me in touch with Bobby Tyner because Bobby was closer to me in proximity, geographically, with him being in South Carolina. And so then Bobby reached out and sent me an application to fill out to receive my husband's Orange Heart Medal. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like here, if I can. This is the actual Orange Heart Medal that is presented to Vietnam veterans that were exposed to Agent Orange or to their family member, whether it be their spouse or a child or their next of kin. Any person, any veteran, or any survivor of that veteran can apply for a medal in that veteran's honor. And that doesn't cost anything. That's already been paid for. The veterans, this is the very least that they can receive as recognition that you matter. What you did mattered. And there are some of us that aren't going to forget it. And as long as we draw breath, we're not going to let the people that are coming behind us forget it either. But so that was step number one. Step number two is I received an invitation to the dedication of the Orange Heart Memorial in Springfield, and I went. And there had to be 1,000 people there. In the midst of a pandemic, people came because it mattered. And the memorial dedication started at 3:30 in the afternoon, and every branch of the military was honored. No stone was left unturned. There were keynote speakers. There were musicians. They had the missing man table, and every branch of the military was honored at that table. I can't tell you the emotional feeling that there was to arrive at this memorial and to be in the company of other Vietnam veterans who are still with us, while also being with the survivors of the ones who are not. And this memorial is for all Vietnam veterans who came home. It isn't just for the Vietnam veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange. The names that are on the memorial of those veterans are notated by an orange heart to the left of their name. But if there is a veteran who served during the era that was not exposed, they still qualify to have their name added to this memorial. Phase 1, that memorial holds 8 cenotaphs. Each cenotaph holds 60 names. So, as Ken said, we are about, I think he said 25 or 30 names away from having all 8 of those cenotaphs complete, which means that we've made a step in the right direction. We're getting the word out there. Vietnam veterans and their families want their family members remembered. And there is a place where their names will be read. They will be remembered. This slide that you've brought up, that is an actual monument of the Agent Orange Heart Medal. And I can't see the writing that's at the bottom. Maybe Ken can, but to the right, that is a photo from the day of the dedication of Ken Gamble, our founder and president, and Joyce Gentry, who is vice president of the Orange Heart Medal Foundation. After that day, we left the dedication. I'm going to say with a sense of peace and with a sense of pride that we all knew was there, but it was more on the outside now. You could see it in everybody that left. There was we left with a different walk, a different step. And it was following that I filled out the application to have my husband's name added to the memorial. And in March, actually on the 28th, instead of the 29th of this year, 2021, I attended the reveal of the 6th cenotaph where my husband's name was added. He's on the left-hand side, second from the bottom. And again, this ceremony they didn't just pull back the sheet and say, here you go. It was handled with respect and reverence. There were several members there. I understand from Ken's VFW post, and each person had a list of names, and they each took a turn reading 10 names at the time. And it's an overwhelming sense of relief and pride and I'm going to say permission to move forward when you hear your loved one's name read aloud. And we know, I mean, we know you drive in that cemetery, you can't miss that memorial, and you can't not stop and look at it. And even if you don't read every name, you're going to read a name. And it's a wonderful tribute. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I went, because just a few weeks after that, I received a phone call from Bobby Tyner, and he asked me if I would consider helping to represent the Orange Heart Medal Foundation from our state here in North Carolina. And there was not a hesitation. Yes, I will. What can I do? How do I get started? And so it was early June by the time I received a few medals and got my packets put together. And I began with people who I knew personally, reaching out to them and presenting them with their medals. And I found that it's very therapeutic when you go into a veteran's home and they know what you're coming for. They filled out the application already. But when you look them in the eye and you shake their hand and you tell them, welcome home. And on behalf of the Orange Heart Medal Foundation, we are grateful for what you did in service to our country. And you will never be forgotten. It gives you a sense of peace to experience the fact that they now know that they have received recognition. I went into the home of a veteran and did an interview with our local paper. And he and another veteran were in attendance. And the lady who was conducting the interview asked him, what it meant to him to receive his Orange Heart Medal. And his words were, it meant the world. It just meant everything, because finally, somebody recognized what you guys did. Finally, somebody is doing something to help honor them. So, how can I not continue this walk, continue this journey to honor my husband and to honor every Vietnam veteran who I come in contact with by sharing this news of the Orange Heart Medal and also of the opportunity to have their name added to a memorial where they otherwise, no one would know about. And
Robin, I appreciate your lesson. Your husband mattered. What he did mattered.
Yes.
That's important for all of us. You've talked about the memorial and names. You talked about the medals. How does someone get a medal, or how does someone get their name on the memorial? From what I understand, basically, anybody who served in Vietnam was exposed to Agent Orange. If you breathe the air, drink the water, or whatever, you're exposed to Agent Orange. What would someone do if they wanted to get a medal for themselves or for their loved one? If they want to donate something for the memorial and for helping pay for the postage and so forth, coming along with sending the medals out free. Tell us a little bit how people go about getting more information.
Okay. You want me to answer that, or you want Ken to answer?
Well, either way, Ken, you can do it. What's your website, and how do they get fill out? How do they get an application for the medal as well as the memorial? You're muted, Ken. Turn your sound on. Ken, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Now we hear you. Okay. We hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, if you go to the website, it's orangeheartmetal.org. Small letters, one word, orangeheartmetal.org. On the very front page, when it comes up, one side of it says metal application. They can click on that and get the application, fill it out, hit submit, it comes to me. I package the metal up and mail it to them. The cenotaph is on the right-hand side of the page. They can go there, they can print the application off, fill it out, send a check in with $150, and their name will go on a cenotaph. It's as simple as that.
Let me ask you something here, Ken. When you fill out the application for the Agent Orange medal, it asks about what difficulty you have and what do you've got, whether it's peripheral neuropathy or any of your list. What if a veteran does not have something, but he was still exposed because he was in Vietnam? They still get a medal, right?
We're not the government, pal. We don't handle VA claims. Okay, if they were in Vietnam and they were exposed, if they're on the registry, they can get this medal. Okay, if they're not on the registry and they have been to a civilian doctor, and that doctor has said, you got a condition here that we don't know what it is or don't know this, that, or what have you, all they got to do is put it on that application. I'm not one of these guys that hey, I want that medal out there. I want it out there. And
that's a clarification I wanted, because it's important we get the medals out so we can start, the public will start asking, what is that? And get the public out there to behind Agent Orange and what you're doing, because it's like Robin said, it's good to know that what her husband did mattered and that he mattered. And
could I say
go ahead.
One deal about the memorial? I hate to change the subject, but I don't think, of course, was having some difficulty there. But this memorial, when we built this memorial, we put 2 vaults underneath it. Okay, coming up out of the ground is some 6-inch pipe. They're capped off. Any Vietnam veteran or any family member of Vietnam veteran that has been cremated and want their remains at this memorial, they are welcome to come and intern their ashes right there at the memorial. That's just a little added thing that we put there for them.
That's great. That's a great thing. You know, people are being buried today in USS Arizona, the ship in Pearl Harbor. So,
right.
It's important that they go to the web page, read more information about Agent Orange. Agent Orange, it was called the rainbow herbicide because it was Agent Orange, pink, and so forth. And we have a slide somewhere that shows that, but we won't worry about that, the different colors and so forth. But it was a stripe on the barrel, and it was supposed to have been diluted, but I don't know if anybody, there it is. I don't know if anybody had ever diluted it. It was sprayed right out of the barrel just like it came. And
well, a lot of those barrels were dumped out of the planes, and then they took the 60s and then shot them full of holes, and they just sprayed.
You know, it's one thing to go fight a war, and but Vietnam War seems to be the war that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not giving good things.
People, the public just doesn't. You can ask this generation out there now about Agent Orange; they don't even know what you're talking about. They have no idea. They're not teaching it in school. They're not passing it on, and that's, you know. And the government is not going to broadcast it. They try to keep it. They try to keep it within the veteran community.
What you're doing, that's why what you're doing is so important, to start making people ask why.
Yes, absolutely. And
there's so many misinformation out there about the Vietnam War, and those of us who were involved, that it's unbelievable. You can go on the internet and just something that's totally wrong is still there. It may have been put on there 10, 15, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, but it's still there, and it's still wrong information.
Yes, and I do want to say something about my vice president, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Joyce Gentry. Her husband was taken by Agent Orange. Okay? Joyce is a Gold Star family member. She has undoubtedly give this foundation 125%. She is constantly helping. She does all the paperwork. She does all the grant applications. She does, and she's a member of the Honor Guard, our Honor Guard. She is the go-to person for that, and she is busy because we are burying 3 to 5 veterans every week here. So, I mean, she is constantly helping out, and she is one of the greatest people you'll ever meet. And I wish we could have got her on here. But, you know, it just, Joyce is just, she's the queen bee. That's all I got to say about it.
Well, would you probably could use some representatives in other states so they could be somebody to hand deliver some of the medals.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So they go to the website, they can get up with you and talk to and find out what it is, what they do and so forth. I think it's special because Robin has been going out and delivering those medals. It's not just something getting in the mail. She's been delivering when she can. And Bobby, who's not with us right now on the picture and so forth, but they're getting the medals out, and you just need more representatives so that more people, more words you can get out, and more people working with you, because it's one man can't do but so much. So,
well, I'm gonna tell you, I come out here most of the times around 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't go in the house till about 11 o'clock at night. I'm doing something constantly all the time. I'll sit here. If I get a break, that computer, that printer, it starts up. I'll get 10 or 15, you know, it's just unreal. And I appreciate it. I appreciate these veterans applying for this medal. It's not costing them a penny, and it does help them, therapeutically help them. There's no question about that.
Helps us all.
Yes, definitely does.
Let's see. I believe that's a picture of Bobby.
That's correct.
Okay. On the screen there. And let's see. We've got the website information, www.orangeheartmedal.org. We've got Bobby's email address, and we've got Robin's email address. So you can get in touch. That gives you how to get to the website, and you can touch base with Bobby or Robin, and they can help you if you have any questions and get you to Ken. So it's out there. I got to do a housekeeping thing. I didn't keep up with the time. How are we doing?
It's time.
Pardon me?
It's time.
Okay. Ken, you want to say anything as we close? The time has been kind of screwed up today, but you got anything you want to say to the people that are watching and so forth? That go for
Yes,
it.
I do. I just want them to keep the faith, and God bless the USA, man.
Robin?
Same.
Well, this will be available on YouTube, and you can go to www.nissancommunications.com and go to on demand and go into the archives and see this show again. If you have any questions and watch the show again, reach out to Ken or Robin or Bobby, who I'm sorry we couldn't get on tonight, or this afternoon. But thank y'all all for listening, and thank you, Ken, for what you're doing, and Robin, thank you for what you're doing, and Bobby, it is something special, and it does matter.
Thank you, Bill.
We'll see you next month, folks.
Sounds good.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.